It's finals day. The championship started in Campos in Spain and it ends here in the awesome ring in Kristianstad, Sweden. Welcome to the home of IKEA, Volvo and of course everyone's favourite band, ABBA. But we are in Kristianstad's hidden gem, the awesome ring set amid Sweden's forested tranquility. This 1.2 kilometre rip snorter of a circuit is about to play host to 4 Superheats and 2 finals. The awesome ring, year of opening 1967, event record is set by Kenzo Craigie in qualifying practice, 48.934 in the official sessions. We have seen faster times in warm-up sessions and over the course of something, but in the official qualifying sessions, Kenzo Craigie faster with that 48.934. The track itself, though, a beautiful circuit spanning 1.2 kilometers, ferocious corners as well, 185 meters down the start-finish straight into a flat-out turn 1. It's around 8 to 10 meters wide as it opens up into the apexes and closes on the exit with an elevation change of 6 meters, meaning it is also a very undulating circuit for the drivers to go racing on. Turns in total, there are 14 of them spanning around the 1.2 kilometer layout, 7 to the right, 7 to the left, and 6 hairpins out there. Each and every one of those corners provides its own unique challenges, but mainly they all provide ample overtaking opportunities. We have seen them in towards turn 1 and that chicane, into turn 4 is one of the main hotspots, 6, 7 and 14, but we also see them in towards turns 9 and 10, also 1 or 2 in towards turn number 12. Drivers, though, will be topping out at the highest speed possible down in towards turn number 1, around 125 kilometers an hour in the senior category, averaging around 83 kilometers an hour around the entirety of the lap. It is a super demanding circuit, not only on a driver, but on their machinery as well. It is finals day. We are ready to go racing. Myself, Anthony Jordan and Guillaume Alvarez in the commentary box. It has been a very busy weekend so far with multiple drivers taking wins. However, it falls down to those championships now, and it is tantalisingly close in both the seniors and the juniors. Put it this way, with those drop scores allocated, it is wide open for the top 3 in both classes. Guillaume, this is going to be an exciting day, and I'm certainly looking forward to it.
Yeah, we are both looking forward, as everybody here joining us on location and live as well. Welcome along on the YouTube channel of the Champions of the Future, as well as on motorsport.tv. As always, we got you covered to follow with us the last showdown of this year's season. It's about to come to a conclusion, round number 5. The final phase is on. But before we crown this year's champion, we have the Superheat taking place this morning with the junior category coming up next. 4 Superheat, 2 by class. And at the end of that, the 72 drivers qualified in each of those classes will be split in half, and hardly 36. Half of that will get the golden tickets to qualify on the grid for the final. And then this will come down to the edges. But Michael McCoy, the young American, has been one to watch. 5 races, 5 wins yesterday and Friday for the Koski Motorsport driver. He will be starting this one on pole position. He's been absolutely impeccable throughout the course of the weekend here on the RGMMC ring. Michael McCoy, winner last time out in rugby for what was round number 4, and hopefully hoping to finish on high, and he certainly did start his weekend on the right foot. There was a swap of positions. As you can see, it will be on the outside of the front row of that first grid, which means that Noah Baglin by his side will be on the inside coming for the race. Now, let's get down to him. Let's see what he had to say after yesterday's race.
Michael, 5 races since yesterday and 5 wins. The maximum points in the championship, the pole position for tomorrow. It doesn't get better than that. Congratulations. What's your feeling right now?
I mean, that's a lot of confidence going into the final and the pre-final. I'll be starting on pole, so if I can get like a good gap in the first lap, then I think I can get away.
Well, from our distance, it looked fairly easy, but it's never easy on track, is it? Especially on a layout like that, providing, you know, a lot of overtaking opportunities. This last run proved that up until the last race, the final, that's going to be certainly not an easy battle.
Yeah, I mean, every good driver splits off into different heats. Here was a lot better drivers. I'm a lot slower in the beginning, faster in the end, so I get past in the beginning, and I passed Dean with like 3 to go, and just they fought behind, and I got perfect gap.
Well, good to hear there from Michael McGoy as engines fire up as drivers make their way out onto the circuit. Let's take you through that full starting lineup then. For this 36 kart race for the first Superheat of the day. Michael McGoy and Noah Baglin on row number 1. They'll be joined by Daniel Miron and Ludovico Mazzola on road to a very strong performance from them over the course of the weekend. Valerio Villapiana, 2 race wins over yesterday. He'll start alongside Evan Purcell, the pole sitter. Matteo Rivals, brand new set of tyres on the left-hand side. He'll be joined by Lucas Sell on row number 4. Memo Aguez and Manny Nuvolini go from row 5. Alexander Lazarus and Andrea Manni for Forza Racing lock out the top 6 rows. Bruno Blanco and Sebastian Escandari go from row 7. They'll have Remy Samcek and Juan Gafiate on row number 8. Gafiase having a very strong performance. Leonardo Gorski and Victor Stelmach, they round out the first half of the grid on row 9.
Then on row number 10 we have Gilles Herman and Bosco Arias. Row number 11, Jarla Seyer and Luc Dahl. Row number 12, Julian Frasnelli as well as Antonio Pizzonia. On row number 13, Noah Antonsen as well as Alessandro Crucio. Row number 14, Hugo Wend and Louis Bazire. Row number 15, Olivier Ricini and Volod Osachi Suslovski. Row number 16 at the back end of the grid, Billy Van Staveren, Angelina Simmons, Elliot Spanktoff and Benjamin Manak on row number 17, and row number 18, Roland Nagy and Matveev Derjunov, as we do have everybody on board here, and a couple of drivers going for new slick tires. We've had a lot of those strategy options being applied yesterday during the last qualifying heats, but now let's see if this will be paying off. Race control is ready. Joanna Falcao and Sam Fisher watching along everything that's happening on and off the track, thanks to the cameras, the many cameras that we have surrounding the ASUM ring, helping out the marshals and the officials, as well as this man in the center, Mr. Martin Bean, our race director, alongside Chris Lambrecht, the chairman of the official, paying close attention to the drivers making their way back into the last hairpin. This is the first of the 6 rolling stars that we're going to have today. Hopefully, first time of asking. Michael McCoy will be able to take everybody to the racing. We are on board Daniel Miron Lorente that will be starting from 3rd on the grid.
Here we go then, into the tram lines. First time today. Are we lights out and racing? Yes, we are. It's a good start for the inside row. McCoy with that outside line does not get the getaway he fully wanted, but he does hold on to the lead now as there's pandemonium in the middle of the chicane. 2 drivers out. It's a Fusion and a Parolin. The 82 machine is one of them. That is Bruno Blanco. He goes no further. The other Fusion motorsport car is Remy Samcek. Unfortunately, both of those drivers out on the first race of the day. Now, crucially, those drivers were in the cutoff area, but they were in the short end, so they need to be very careful here. They might not make it into the final with that drama. Eyes on the rest of them, back on board with Daniel Miron. Looking backwards, he can see a rear view full of Noah Baglin, who is going to try, I'm sure, to get his nose back down the inside at some point throughout this race, but as and where, we don't know just yet. Over the start-finish line they go. It's McGoy who leads the way by Valerio Villapiana, who is there in 2nd place. He did this yesterday, now with a higher starting position than he did have yesterday in those qualifying heats. He's done it again, and he's up there into 2nd place.
Yeah, great start and getaway for the Italian driver. We've been seeing him doing that exactly in the qualifying heats of yesterday and Friday, really picking up the pace and the places in the early stages and making sure to secure that result coming to the checkered flag, as he's been picking up strong results through the course of that weekend. Now holding on, Daniel Miron Lorente, you can see him with being chased by Noah Baglin just further back. Noah Baglin down in 4th place, Miron Lorente in 3rd currently. Then they have Lucas Sells, Manny Nuvolini, Evan Purcell. That's getting closer and closer. Evan Purcell trying to get around the inside, clipping the curb a little bit, close side by side into the last turn. Not quite able to make his move, the rookie Finn driver. He's going to try again as Noah Baglin around the inside in turn number 1 on David Miron. And he makes it his move, make it stick beautifully on the inside. The Puma driver up into 3rd place. And the driver behind, Lucas Sells, was not able to do the same, but Daniel Miron under intense pressure in those early stages.
Bit of a moment for Evan Purcell out of the chicane is down the inside. Lucas Sell gets the move done on Daniel Miron. He now steps up into 4th place as Billy Van Straven does set the fastest lap of the race, a 52.29 8. As this race progresses, where are our drivers who have put on those fresh tyres? Now, Matteo Rivals was the highest ranked driver who had put on a fresh set of tyres. He has dropped backwards in this phase. He's down to 8th place currently, but he is still in a strong position right now. So we'll keep a close eye on that one. In fact, he's back up into 6th place now. So good running there. This fight here, though, look at this. Michael McGoy and Valerio Villapiana. It's a Koski Motorsport 1-2 here through the chicane. Well, I'm sure they may have had a talking to earlier on today what to do if they were in a racing scenario, but let's see what happens at this phase of the race, because right now they are staying line astern and there is no battling between them just yet. As we were speaking about it, Matteo Rivals with those fresh tyres on board. Now the fastest driver out on circuit, a 51.841 as my. Valerio Villapiana trying to get his nose down the inside any way, shape he can. Daniel Miron there has just been taken another place away from him. That looks like Matteo Rivals has just got through. So those fresh tyres again, utilising him there, and him stepping up into 5th place now, and Daniel Miron at the back of that train. Eyes then will focus on the rest of those drivers. There you can see on the left-hand side of your screen those new tyres being used, and you can see that Elliot Spagtov has had a really good run in this one. 33rd all the way up to 25th now. That's a good use of his tyres as well. The same can be said for Roland Nagy, as down the inside. Nicely done. Valerio Villapiana goes through. McGoy says, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. It's about time to keep on building that gap. 1.3 seconds already on Noah Baglin. And those two are going to have to work together to try to secure that result. When it comes to the overall points, the championship as for now in the junior category, William Kaleha is still very much leading in front of Noah Baglin and Ali Tristan Christian, but Kaleha and Christian have been nowhere to be seen so far this weekend after a very difficult qualifying. So at this point, we'll see how things will evolve, but McCoy will, thanks to this second place, even though we will be willing to fight for victory, will make his way up to 1st place. This is how it looks right now in the Superheat classification. We had a classification yesterday with points awarded to in the championship, but now things will evolve again as the winner in each of the Superheat gets 90 more points. As run inside goes the number 90, beautifully made by Lucas Sells in front of Noah Baglin. Baglin losing the positions to the Frenchman with another another countryman from France. Matteo Rivals just behind with those two new tires, trying to shake up the order a little bit. Baglin in trouble by the look of it. He's the driver currently with the strongest chance to maybe get his hands on the title in this year's Champions of the Future, considering his closest protagonists, as we said, are very far behind. But it all comes down to those two races. He needs to pick up the places, as well, making sure to secure strong results into the final. And as I say that, it's about to lose a place. Matteo Rivals, and further back as well, the 47 of Manuel Miguez makes his life even harder on the inside of turn number 4, that is. And he makes it stick on the outside before the next breaking point.
Yeah, indeed. Nicely challenged there in that top pack area, as Sebastian Escandare briefly taking a fastest lap of the race, though that did get taken away. Villapiana and McGoy, well, I've got to say, their pace is not as quick as the drivers behind. Lucas Sell is closing in with Matteo Rivals, the two Frenchmen working together now to try and close in on the two Koski drivers ahead, the Italian and the American. At this moment, don't seem to have the outright pace in this session. Now, their race length has increased from yesterday, from 10 laps up to 13, so they've got a bit more time to get the job done, as McGoy is sensing the danger behind. He's gone for the overtake on Villapiana, and now he can try and break away, but with that overtake, it's brought them right in together now. It is a group of 4 drivers fighting for first place. Could Sell or could Rivals come away with what could be their first win? As drama in the background off the circuit. That is disastrous there. That is Julian Frasnelli is one of them. And I think he's got caught up with Noah Antonsen, unfortunately. The AF competition driver on the Paralympic machine, unfortunately, is out of this race. And they will go no further. And unfortunately for Antonsen, he was below the cutoff. He's not going to make the final for Frasnelli as well, exactly the same, both of them on fresh tyres. Their last effort to try and get into that final is now over.
Yeah, unfortunately it is, and this is certainly the worst moment of the weekend to suffer a DNF, unfortunately for them. As in the meantime, well, Michael McCoy back in the lead. Verpiana finding himself under intensive pressure from Rivals and Sells. The two Frenchmen really eyeing what could be a possible victory into this superheat. But
Here
first,
he goes.
they have to come down. Oh, and we came close to a little bit of a drama there for Rivals, who wanted to take both at the same time. But on the outside, he finds himself in the hardest of position. Lucas Sells gets it back through, as well as Verpiana. And we thought for a moment that McCoy was about to surrender the lead on the outside of that turn. But Rivals was maybe a little bit too greedy on that one. He had to go for the try. And now he's going to have to try again. And unfortunately, Miguez, the 47, dives with the CRG on the inside of the Frenchman. Takes that fourth place, and he keeps on changing with Lucas Sells. It's time for the other Frenchman to try to shine in this one. Takes second place on the edge. That opens the door. And the CRG driver gets it through as well, up to P3.
Indeed, this is all allowing Michael McCoy to break away here. That gap has opened up to 0.7 of a second now from this second place battle. So we'll keep a close eye on it as, oh dear me, again, Valerio Virpiana looking to the inside. That's scupping his exit, though. He goes wheel to wheel with Mateo Rivals. Slams the door closed, wheel banging over the start-finish straight, but amazingly, they keep it both in a straight line, but no. Rivals, I think, has lost traction there massively. Bangling goes through. Daniel Mirren, I'm sure, will try and capitalise on this as well. But he is just behind it, and he has not been able to get past. But that is a huge moment there for the likes of, well, Mateo Rivals, who's now tumbled down to 9th place.
Yeah, we might need to see that again, but there was nowhere to go by the look of it for the Frenchman who cut cross at the chicane, and all of his efforts put into the bin, and he won't have enough time, unfortunately, as the checkered flag is getting near now, to try to climb back up the field, as McCoy extending his lead and gap to 0.7 of a second now. Oh, and then 100, yeah, this is one of the Tony cars. Could it be Matteo Rivals? No, this is Matvei Dergunov. Rivals is still with us, but Dergunov all the way down at last, and DNF joining the likes of Ramirez Samsic, Bruno Blanco, and Julian Frasnelli, as well as Noah Antonsen, unfortunately, as we keep a close watch on the battle between Miguez and Lucas Sells. Those two, victory lane against CRG for the second place.
Just want to cut back to this one. Virpiana slamming the door closed. How close could you get on this moment? The officials don't look kindly at things like that. You know, you can defend. It's absolutely fine to defend your line, but you cannot squeeze a driver off the circuit like that. And yeah, I suspect they probably will look at that. And when Baglin went for the move down the inside there, and I think, yeah, just caught on the dirty part of the track and just had no traction there whatsoever for Mateo Rivals, and that is a huge shame for him. McCoy leads the way, though, as we're on to the last lap of this race. Sell and Miguez, second and third. This is the fight, though, for second place. Manuel Miguez all over the rear bumper, tries to look to the inside, but Sell slams the door closed. And now we'll have another attempt, I'm sure, at turn number 7. This is it now. Can he get the switch over his nose along the outside line? The left-handers next, though. They won't get the corner for Manuel Miguez. He'll have to stay behind. Baglin now will close in. This is as close as you can get it now between the two drivers, but there at the front, Michael McCoy is looking to see. He will claim 25 championship points here. He will not be able to be beaten by anyone else in the Superheats. It's the American across the line from the Frenchman, and the Spaniard crossing third. It's McCoy, Sell and Miguez, 1, 2, 3 at the end. And Michael McCoy, with that race result, secures pole position for the final later on today. Manuel Miguez at the Michael McCoy, sorry, at this moment, 7th in the championship standings. That's yesterday was his best qualifying heat results. Another 25 points here would step him up in the order quite a bit, but he's still 7th. This isn't going to help him out much in his championship fight, but still, he will start on pole position for that final. Sell from Miguez, Baglin from Virpiana, Eskandari from Mazzola, Rivals from Purcell and Bosco Arias rounding out the top 10. 11th place downwards sees Daniel Miron unfortunately dropping down to 11th place out of Andrea Mani, who didn't gain any positions or lose any positions in that one. A pretty solid race for him. Leonardo Gorski from Alexander Lazarus, Gilles Herman from Louis Bazares, 12 places gained to finish in P16. Jarla Sayer and Victor Stelmach rounding out the top 18. Sevolod Osachi Sozlowski, an 11th place gain for the Ukrainian for the AST Motorcade Factory team. He steps it up into P19 ahead of Manny Nuvolini, Benjamin Magnac and Roland Nagy, Olivier Ricini from Juan Garciase, Elliot Spagnoff and Antonio Pizzonia, and Juliana Simmons from Luke Tal and Alessandro Tcucho. Wenyabu and Billy Van Straven. Madfrey Duganov round out to the finish in that one. He was the latest of the retirements. Antonsen, Fresnelli, Blanco and Samchek all not finishing the race, which is a big shame. But there on your screen, Michael McGoy, his best weekend so far, fresh off a final win in rugby at the last round. He has continued that dominant trend into the final round here at Kristianstad, and he is delighted with that one. Let's have a look at the highlights from this. Well, initially, it looked like Baglin was going to have the inside line there. He just got his nose cut off there, and McGoy able to carry that speed around the outside. Drama at the start, though. Bruno Blanco and Remy Samchek colliding through the chicane, and unfortunately, their chance of getting into that final has diminished quite significantly. But we don't know if it is over just yet for them. We'll have to wait and see. Valeria Virpiana, really strong start for him. They're getting up into second place. Would unfortunately drop down to 5th place at the end of it. And you see here how it was still a close fight all the way throughout. Daniel Miron on the back foot on this one. Unfortunately, Daniel Miron dropping to 11th place at the end of this race. And there was Baglin going through on that one. Mateo Rivals pushing through as well on that brand new set of tyres, would later, of course, suffer the consequences of trying to go for the attack over the start-finish line. And still the battles raged on in those early stages. There was Lucas Sell pushing through. He was able to close in with his fellow countryman, Mateo Rivals, who did get past Baglin as well. That brought Manuel Maguez into play. Maguez was able to push forward in that early stages. This overtake here from Michael McGoy put him back into the lead, but it also brought in the likes of Lucas Sell and the likes of Mateo Rivals. Drama there at the back of the field where Noah Antonsen and Julian Fresnelli colliding, unfortunately, as well. We'll leave you with these replays, but we'll cut down to Parc Ferme and to Guillaume Alvarez, who is down there.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Michael McGoy with us. Michael, another day, the last one here in Kristianstad for champions, and you keep the momentum going very, very strong. Clean sweep so far for you, so that means that you're picking up the maximum points in the championship, and you're going to be again starting on pole for the final. So everything okay under control under the sun of Sweden?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I have so much confidence going into the final. It just stacks confidence every single time I go out. Hopefully I just break away in the final and get the win.
That would be the ideal scenario for you, that's for sure. We saw Virpiana, your teammate at Koski, very, very close. When you guys are driving together like that, did you discuss this before the racing about how to manage things when it happens?
Yeah, I mean, on track, we just switch around to see who's faster, and once we just see the people behind coming in really fast, the driver that's faster should go in front. So we swapped around. We were about the same speed, but they just eventually caught and they fought behind. And yeah, I just got the gap again.
And we'll see how this all plays out in the final. Thank you very much, Michael, and best of luck to you for the last race of the day that we'll have the pleasure of following this afternoon. Back over to you, Anthony, as the next up is the senior class for the first of the two Superheats.
Thank you very much, Guillaume Alvarez down there in Parc Ferme. Yes, indeed, Senior Superheat 1 now about to take to the circuits. This will see Thibaut Ramicas and Oliver Kinmark on the front row of the grid. Two very quick drivers over the course of this weekend, 3rd and 8th in qualifying for them. But they start their Superheat on the front row of the grid, and we'll take you through that full starting lineup as the carts fire up, as the drivers make their way out on track for their 17-lap race. It is Thibaut Ramekers and Oliver Kinmark on row number 1, Kenzo Craigie and Jesse Phillips on row 2, Fastau Anado and Jensen Burnett will lock out row number 3. Row 4 will see Marco Gast and Kadir Ferhan, a very busy weekend for them, but let's see what they can do. Matthew Higgins will not be on the grid for this one, but I can confirm he is at the circuit this morning and watching the racing, which is fantastic to see. James Adignosiadis then all on his own on row number 5. Luke Corner and Davide Bataro go from row 6. They'll have Jacopo Martinez and Endo Arato on row number 7. Jakob Kamenek and Victor Gustafsson finds himself near the cutoff area for the final on row number 8. Zach Green and Peter Stiller are on that cutoff on row number 9. Emily Koivisto and Vladimir Ivanikov are the drivers who need to start stepping it forward in this race. They'll have Hugo Marti and Chiara Batik just behind. Zhang Jose and Armin Carrier Osman will lock out row number 12. Clovis Nugarade and Wilma Svan go from row 13. They'll have Zhao Zizun of China and Oliver Rasmussen of Denmark on row 14. Sky Parker and Francois Cadal go from row 15. They'll lock out the top 13. They'll have Aston Sharp and Matthias van der Kerkhoff, who has gone for a brand new set of tyres on the left-hand side, the only driver in this session. So let's see if we can put them to good use. Paul Andriotis and Efim Duranov lock out row 17 with Maria Neto and Augustine Sepulveda starting this one on the 18th row. Jensen Burnett is out of this race. The 271 Forza Racing machine is being dragged off the circuit, and the driver who was due to start P6 is walking away to the marshal post.
271 mechanical failure.
And it's a mechanical failure as well, reporting to us in the commentary box. That is absolute disaster for the Canadian, who qualified 37th overall to put himself on the 3rd row of the grid for this one. Well, with now him missing, it gives a clear line for Kadir Ferhan to go to work to close in on the rest of the field in front. Lights go out, we're racing down towards turn number 1. Solid start for Ramekers on that inside line. Craigie goes through as well. The pole sitter from qualifying, though, is going to lose out in 2nd place, as down the inside goes the DPK of Fastau Anado, who's got himself up into 2nd place. The rest of the field now slotting through in the background. You can see the chasing pack all trying to get a nose down the inside, but Fastau Anado is holding them at bay, which is allowing Thibaut Ramekers to break away at the front. The two Koskis just behind. Kinmark battling away with Marco Gast, the Swede, and the driver from Denmark, Linus Stern, as they head in towards turns 9 and 10 for the first time.
And unlike what we had just before for the juniors, no sign of accidents or drivers banging wheels, just too much into that opening lap. Good getaway for everybody here at the end of that first course around the Asium ring. As one inside goes one of the fusions, GC Phillips, by the look of it, yes indeed. As well, the Prema of Kenzo Craigie is now making his way past, beautifully made on Hernando. That's the battle for 2nd place, and Kenzo Craigie wasn't waiting in the wings. As for the back behind, beautiful launch on the inside by one of the Koskis. I think it might have been Oliver Kinmark.
Yeah.
Yes, on his own teammate. A launch from very far behind, but that's beautifully made on the inside, and that finds him up into 4th place. Behind Arnaudo, behind Craigie up into 2nd. Thibaut Ramekers is up in the lead. But the chase is on, because championship leader Kenzo Craigie is now up into 2nd place and ready to give him the battle, as Konder is being put under investigation for starting pursuit infringements, something to do maybe with acceleration or corridors as well, to put the wheels out of them. Well, that might be worth a penalty. We'll get back to that. Another lap completed, and the gaps is extending, or shall I say decreasing, between Craigie and Ramekers.
Yeah, indeed. 7/10 of a second now is the gap between himself and Thibaut Ramekers. Now, just Craigie getting past Ramekers isn't enough. You can see there by the points that have just appeared on my screen, very nicely timed. Craigie 291. If he gets past Ramekers, yes, it will help him out, but it won't put him ahead of him in the points. So it might do something. We'll have to just wait and see. You can see the rest of them now as Costoy's gone down. Kelleher, Svirhan and Gast have gone up, but of course Costoy's going to be out in the next race, and of course they can put in some work on it. Remember, 90 points are rewarded for the drivers in this one. A big difference, and 80 points for P2. So it's actually a 10-point gain. So actually it would benefit Craigie if he can get past. So with now at only 0.3 of a second. Fights on for the front runners as Craigie is looking to see if he can take 25 championship points to hold on to his championship lead at the moment, which, with the drop scores going into that final, is wide open still for the top three. It's going to be tantalisingly close, Keon.
Yeah, with drop scores, Kenzo Craigie is still very much your leader as for now at 261 points, but he has only 9 points advantage on Christian Costoya, with Thibaut Ramakers down in third, with still a chance to maybe play a role in the fight for the title. So remains to be seen. We will leave it for the final this afternoon. It's about getting the much needed championship points at the end of the superheat and the pole position. As you said, Thibaut Ramakers in the lead, comfortable as well in the point standing of the weekend. If Kenzo Craigie would go for P1, he would get the 10 extra points, but that would not be enough still to sneak in past the Belgian. That's for the theoretical situation now. I have to keep watching and waiting. 17 laps, that's the second longest race of the weekend for the competitors, as the final will be of 21 laps long for the juniors and 25 for the seniors. So plenty of time and plenty of opportunities for them as the 344.
Jesse Phillips.
Yes, indeed, in a bit of a trouble there, the British driver.
Yeah, indeed. Got tangled there with Keta Fairhand, who's got through now. Marco Gaster, all in and around that area as well, has just got past him. Now he's got Davide Bataro just behind now. Luke Cornder has dropped down to 11th place. Victor Gustafsson on the charge as well on a 4-place gain. Remember, the Swede, former champion, is down the inside. Big send there for Jacopo Martinez. That is on Fastao Anado. That steps him up nicely into position. As side by side over the start-finish line, we cut away as eyes on this one. Craigie has taken the lead of the race. We missed that one on our screens. And hopefully, I think it was Victor Gustafsson who was having a bit of a side-by-side moment there on the start-finish line, as he's holding on to 13th place now with Peter Stiller just ahead. Craigie now in the lead, steps him up to 301 points now. It does not help him out. Ramaker still having the 324. He would need to considerably drop down in the order to put Craigie up there. Ramakers, though, is doing everything he can right now to gain on the two drivers ahead. Now, he's got the jump on Kenzo Craigie already. He took the 25 championship points yesterday, as unfortunately going very slowly there is the 236 DPK. Yeah, Francois Cadal going very slow. It's a lot of smoke out of the back of that kart, and something tells me that's had a really slow moment where it's oiled up and bogged down just that little bit. Eyes on this fight, though. Yes, for Ramakers, he's still in a really strong position championship-wise. Yes, he's behind on the likes of Kenzo Craigie and Christian Costoya, but because Costoya has had that up and down weekend a little bit with him as well, he still starts on pole, so he's got a really good chance of going through as well, but it just brings him just that little bit closer in those points. Ramakers and Kinmark, though, on your screen, this is the fight for second place. Thibaut Ramakers doing what he can, but he is down at the moment in this race. So is Kinmark. Both of them, I'm sure, would like to gain another place in this one, but Craigie is breaking away at the front. Jacopo Martinez just behind. Got to say, this morning, different man than what we saw yesterday. Really tough day for the Italian, but he doesn't seem to be fazed by that. He's really putting in the work right now.
Yeah, we can see that beautifully with that Car Republic Shuttle machine. Lap number 8 out of 17. Doing a bit of a math as run inside. This is one of the Koskis. Yeah, on the 282. Beautifully made for Kenmark on the Ramakers. Thibaut Ramakers dropping another place down in third, which means he's going to drop 8 more points, picking up 72 if he stays where he is. So 8 more points dropped by the Belgian. Doing some math, so that would put him at the 318. So still very much in the lead. As he fights back, Martinez this time around. Well, it's not really going the way of Thibaut Ramakers as for now. The 248 of James Stadis is not far behind either. Still a lot of laps and time to try to switch and turn things around into this superheat, but Thibaut Ramakers being caught a little bit out sleeping, so to speak. He's going to react certainly very fast. He knows that he has the comfortable gap in the lead, but cannot afford to keep on dropping those positions because, well, Christian Costoya still have one race to go, and as I say that, he keeps on fighting, switch those places on the inside of Martinez, upper place, but the Italian fights back and opens the door for Stadis, and even further back for Arnando. Well, there's a little bit of fire in the house for the Belgian driver.
Yeah, there certainly is. This is great running for these drivers here, and I've got to say, you look at this field right now and the sea of kart republics at that sharp end on this one. It's just come to note there. You may see all these different colors, but they're all on the same chassis right now with different teams. And you can see how they're just able to pull away from the rest. The highest non-Kart Republic out there, I've got to say, is probably Kenneth Fairhand on the Ward Racing machine, who's currently in 9th place right now. That would be the OTK Tony Kart product there at that sharp end. But all these drivers on the Kart Republic gear working well as Anagnosiadis once again looks down the inside of Martinez, but now has to defend from Ramakas, who is falling down. He's got there through past Anagnosiadis now. Anagnosiadis having to deal with Fastau and Nardo just behind on the DPK machine, and he's not found his way through. There's an update on the points. Well, Ramakas dropping down now, 310 points. Craigie in the lead, can't do any more on this one. And of course, this brings in Costoya as well. Remember, Costoya's got 220, add 90 points to that, 310. He could take the lead of the intermediate classification here and take those 25 championship points away if Ramakas falls down another spot here. So this is a very important next few laps for Thibaut Ramakas as he holds on to 4th place.
Yeah, exactly. The Belgian needs to pick up the places and the pace in this one to secure the overall lead. Because whatever happens in the next senior superheat, if Costoya takes the 90 points, well, they will be on equal footing. But Costoya, as he picked up 2nd place overall in qualifying, that would put him in the lead. So that's still for the theory, as Ramakas very much on the tail of Jacopo Martinez. As for the back, some of them battling one of the DPKs in a little bit of a discomfort there with a 291. This is a little bit further back into the ranking, but we're going to keep a close watch in the mid-pack battles as well. But Ramakas, Martinez with the 248 of Adenostad is just behind. Those three battling along, and by the look of it, yeah, dropping a bit of momentum and pace from Oliver Kidmark in 2nd place. Himself as well, losing on Kenzo Craig 1.4.
That's an important move.
Yeah, Thibaut Ramakas in turn number 4, and that will allow him to get some extra points and to get away potentially for Christian Costoya.
Oh no, that will secure it, because if they were joint on points, it falls back to qualifying. Costoya was 2nd in TQ, Ramakas was 3rd, so he would have taken the lead of the intermediate classification if Ramakas stayed in 4th place in this race and Costoya won his race. But now he's got James Anagnosiadis behind him. The fight is still on as still they battle away. First Aunado and Martinez now switching places. Aunado back up into 5th place as Jesse Phillips is on the recovery drive now. But this is the fight here as Phillips goes down the inside. Oh my. Marco Garsner having a go, and Jesse Phillips now starting to get a real taste of what it's like to race in the senior category from stepping up into the juniors. As back down the inside, Martinez goes through. Gas now will be able to close in. Peter Still is there, and so is Kenneth Fairhand. Victor Gustafsson, who was fighting in and around this area earlier on, has tumbled down to 17th place here, Guillaume.
Yeah, quite a shame for him as well, as the battling goes to the way as well of the Argentinian in P5. First to Hernando, with the wheel of that DPK machine, is able to pull away from the rest, and for those 5 as run the inside goes the 305 in the last turn. Beautifully made as Aston Sharp just made his way past. Peter Still in P8 as Marco Gast dropped all the way down to 10. That's Kama Firen, sorry, that just made his way past Marco Gast there for P9. A couple of good climbers as well. Aston Sharp 20 places gained up to P11 as well. Incredible recovery in this last race before the final. As one inside goes Peter Still as well, taking with them just behind the car Firen on JC Phillips in a little bit of trouble there. The Fusion driver at the pressure of Marco Gas this time around, battling in the 2nd part of that top 10, but still very close. And at the wheel of that Charles Leclerc machine, Aston Sharp, as we mentioned his name, maybe willing to pick up a couple of more places into this superheat. They won't have that many laps left to do so, but the recovery is very much there for Aston Sharp, who didn't put on new tires this time around, but still incredible pace.
Well, here we go. Ramakas going through there on Anagnosiadis previously ago. He was able to fight back. That was easier said than done for Thibaut Ramakas, as unfortunately out of the race. MPs, Emili Koivisto, going no further in this one. That is a huge shame for him. One of the favourites this weekend. You know, I was talking about it earlier on about all of them at the sharp end being those Kart Republic chassis, of course. They may be in different teams, but they're all under the same umbrella. They're all part of that same family, the Kart Republic family, as that's a big almighty send from Martinez, and trying to gain one. They're 3 wide over the start-finish line now. Kenneth out on the inside, on the middle. Jesse Phillips on the inside goes through. And look at this, Aston Sharp now getting involved on the Birrell TL kart, pushing through, but he gets squeezed out wide. Through goes the train. And as soon as he gained those places, he's back down into position. Yeah, for Ramikas, of course, fighting away. He's in that one. He's fighting with Christian Costoy to be at the sharp end of this one as Martinez again goes down the inside. Oh, now here comes Green as well. Zach Green going through. Sharp's on a 20-place gain right now. So any of these positions he gains, he'll be absolutely delightful. But right now, there you can see the other one of those. That is Jakub Kamenek trying to go through on the Fusion machinery. He has done so on the Koski kart. He steps up ahead of Marco Karsten into 12th place. Yeah, eyes on the rest. If they stop racing so fantastically, I might be able to get my comment out. Final lap time that we're on. Yeah, Ramikas, you've got to think maybe team orders comes into play. They want to be able to beat the parallel of Christian Costoya, of course, if they could let him back through and into 3rd place. He knows that Ramikas will secure pole position in the seniors. That is a given, because Costoya is the next highest ranked driver who's not out in this race. He can only, if he wins, score 310, and right now Ramikas has 316. It would be enough there in 3rd place. Kenzo Craigie, though, at the sharp end, has done all he can. 301 points to his name. He'll have to wait and see what happens to that next race. Out of the final corner, Craigie wins the Superheat. He claims 90 intermediate classification points, and at the moment, he is looking to receive 22 championship points. But that is, at the moment, one more race to go as they'll head back to Parc Ferme.
Beautiful recovery indeed, beautiful performance for Kenzo Craigie as securing that P1, putting now in 2nd place overall in the classification, as Aston Sharp, the biggest mover in this one, 21st position, as Kinmark and Thibaut Ramackers picking up places to finish P3. And we didn't pick that up as we were going live, but indeed there might have been some discussions before the start of the race between some of the Kart Republic drivers there, just to allow Thibaut Ramackers to secure overall leadership and pole position when it comes to the Superheat number 1. As with a little bit of a help, so to speak, from the likes of James Niosadis as well as Jacopo Martinez. This is Kart Republic against Powerlin, and in this game, sometimes a little bit of help from the rivals is certainly much welcomed. Kenzo Craigie and Oliver Kinmark and Thibaut Ramackers, your top 3 in this Superheat. James Niosadis done in P4 from Posto Arnoldo, Peter Stella, JC Phillips, Cara Finran, Jacopo Martinez, and Aston Sharp P10. Zach Green, P11 from Marco Gast, Ugo Marti, Jakub Kamenik, Victor Gustafsson done in P15 from Arata Endo. Paul Andriotis, another strong recovery for Andriotis, 16 places heading to this his tally, and he's been one of the recoverers of the weekend, Andriotis, let me tell you. He finishes in front of Davide Botaro from Clovis Nougarade, Kara Batig, Vladimir Ivanikov, Matthias van der Karkov, 10 places up with those new slick tires for the Belgian. In front of Luca Conde, Vilmos Van, Sky Parker, Marian Neto, Joe Zhao, Oliver Rasmussen, Cheng Yuzhei, Efim Duronev and Augustin Sepulveda. The last one to see the checkered flag, as we lost Emily Covisto, Amin Kara and Dario Cardol in the process of that race, as well as Justin Burnett. Let's take a look back at how things unfolded into this 2nd Superheat, the first one of the seniors. A little bit of a moment in the chicane, and as a couple of drivers actually went cutting the grass there, with much space within the racing lines, as Jacopo Martinez as well as one of the Ricky Flynns were trying to find their way through. As on the inside, Noah Baglin on the 2:32 of Fausto Arnando on lap number 2. Already some positions gained for Noah Baglin, who would finish a little bit further down, I'm afraid, as there was a James Niosadis as well in this one. Kenzo Craig, it was Kenzo Craig actually making his way past, my apologies, as around the inside the DPK driver still fighting his way through, as for Jacopo Martinez in the middle of the pack. JC Phillips fighting his way up to P7, with Randy inside the 248 of Ananiastazis as well, doing a good job. As we're going to keep a close watch on those highlights, but let's get down to the Parc Fermé with you, Anthony.
Thank you very much, Guillaume. Yes, down here in the sunshine. It's very lovely out here. And Thibaut Ramekers, very strong start to your day. But you had a bit of a fight on your hands there, but you've done enough to secure pole position for that final. Tell us, though, was there a bit of a discussion beforehand? Because it certainly looked like at the end of those races, those boys in the other Cup Republics letting you through. What do you think of that?
No, I don't think so. Just my race was not that good. We had a lot of issue with the grip, and we wasn't so fast at the end, but we managed to finish P3 to secure the pole position for the final, and that is good.
You're in direct competition with Kenzo Craigie and Christian Costura, of course. In that race, you have now done enough to secure that pole position. There is nothing that Costura can do, but are you looking forward to that final?
I hope the best for the final. I know it will be a very long final, 25 laps. But we have a lot of chance to finish on the podium or even win, so I'm confident for the final.
Excellent. Congratulations. Well done, Thibaut. We'll see you out there in that final. As you can hear, the next Superheat has gone through. Let's back up to the box.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Indeed, as we take a look at the last checkered final lap of the race before, with a great result for Kenzo Craigie, as you mentioned, picking up that win with Thibaut Ramekers. You heard him securing enough points to get started on pole position for the Superheat, the final, shall I say, on the at the end of the schedule for today. Now, the juniors are back on track for the Superheat number 2. That's important as well, because this will be the last chance for some of the drivers to secure a starting position on the 36 starting grid lineup. Emiliano Hernandez and Devin Waltz will be sharing the front row of the grid with Mark Pilipenko and Martin Bertolaccini. Row number 2, row number 3, Henri Domain and Oskari Whale. Row number 4, Iskander Zulfikari and Aris Constant Kempen. Watch out for him, he has new slick tires on. Dino Godon and Carl Nelgar on row number 5. Row number 6 will see Antoine Venant and Will Green, the other driver on this grid, with half of a new set. Row number 7, Turner Brown and Cedric Babicek. ID Tristan Christian and Just Mulder, row number 8. Christian as well, the Tonica driver who is leading the championship coming to this event, but is going to have still a lot of work to apply. Then row number 9, Ash Osten and Drew Waltz. Priam Bruno and William Caleja on row number 10, another championship contender who was leading as well the points before tumbling down the order through the course of that weekend. Row number 11, Felipe Sanchez and Gianamato Russo. Row number 12, Enia Pezzuto and Kwazeri Dudowski. Row number 13, Nathan Capen and Dan Halleman. Malcolm Millal and Simba Motoda, row number 14. Row number 15, Marcel Zebo and Ulrich Grankist from Luca Bonham. Eric Paulson on row 16. Row 17, we'll see Maxim Bobreshov and Egon Pedrotti. Alex Molota and Fredrik Flood Egebretsen on row number 18. As the lights won't go out, we go for one formation lap more. Perfect timing, actually, to allow you, my dear Anthony, to get back into the box. So one more formation lap. The grid wasn't deemed good enough by Martin Bean, our race director, as it gives us a bit of a breather and time to talk about the protagonist here. Emiliano Hernandez, the one starting on pole position, still has a chance to make himself climbing that field into the ranking. As for now, is currently sitting at 215 points as it stands, second before the first Superheat to Michael McCoy, but with a 215 adding to the 90 points of a Superheat potential victory, that would put him at 305, so far away from Michael McCoy. This is secure. The championship points, the leadership of the Superheat classification and the pole for the final, but still up for grab, a start on the front row of that final. And in case of a win at 305, well, Emiliano Hernandez would be the one giving a hard time to McCoy on the way to turn number 1. But for that, he needs to pick up that win, and he will have strong opposition with the likes of Devin Waltz, Mark Pilipenko, as well as Henri Domain just behind on the inside line. So let's see how things will play out this time around.
Let's see indeed as they enter into those tram lines. Are we going the second time around? Yes, we are. Good start for Hernandez on the inside line. He'll carry the speed through turn 1. Nothing that Devin Waltz can do. He'll have to slot into second place. Watch them through the chicane. 1, 2, 3, and 4 of them going onto the grass, but they all get back onto the circuit nice and steady for the field as they head down into the hairpin for the first time. They crest the hill and in towards turn number 5. It's a strong start for the field, and it's an even better start there down the inside. It's the Forza machine going through. That's Henry Domain stepping up, I believe. No, Henry Domain still backwards. I think it's the other Forza machine in the early stage. I think it could be Iskender Sulfakari that's made those moves there. We'll have to wait and see as they come through. But right now, it is still Hernandez in the lead, and he still has Devin Waltz just behind. There has been no change there as they enter into the final corner. Looks down the inside, but no actual moves. To the line they go. It's a solid start for the juniors. It's Hernandez from Waltz. It is Henry Domain in third place from Pilapenko. Sulfakari there in fifth place. Oskari Wally in sixth place from Vinod. Bertolacini there in eighth place from Carl Nelligerd, who rounds out the top 9. Dean Hugendorn now holding on to 10th. Down the inside, big send for the likes of Mark Pilapenko. He sends it through and in towards third place.
0.3 of a second between Hernandez and David Walls for the moment as the Tonys battling along with the 56 of Prima. Dino Gondon in a bit of a tussle there with the 140. Carl Nelligard just in front. Side by side at the advantage of Dino Gondon with the 31 making his way past. Nick Babicek had a bit of a gap and just dived his way around. As the two leaders, Hernandez and David Walsh, you could see them right now making their way to turn 1 after the crest of the start-finish straight. Side by side with Ricky Flins, the 22, fighting his way around the inside. Turner Brown and Ari Costa-Kampen. The move was made. And Turner Brown makes himself up to P12 as we've lost one of the MPs, another of the Dutch team with the 125, by the look of it, having to step down from that race. No, it might have been Ludwig Rankist. That was Ludwig Rankist, unfortunately, from MP Kart Racing, dropping out of that super heat on lap number 3. As run inside goes the 69, one of the Fusion. No contact! I'm afraid one of the VDKs in the middle as well, Antoine Venant, as Henri Costa-Kampen might have been involved. As run inside was going one of the Fusions. I think that might have been... Let me try to find him back.
It was Martin Bertolacini who went skywards there as, bit of a boisterous moment on the start-finish line here. They're 3 wide into turn 1. Hold your breath down the inside. Outrageous for Turner Brown. Brilliant stuff there. Steps through 2 places through turn number 1. That's absolutely phenomenal. But something, Guillaume, that I can't get my head around right now. Your championship leader, William Kalesia, is in 24th place and at this moment won't make the final. And this is disastrous. He leads the championship standings with 271, but Baglin, who's in this fight, I mean, Eli Christian as well, he's 10th at the moment. He's really going to struggle for this fight. At this moment, Noah Baglin, who is not in this race, we saw him earlier on, is 3rd in the intermediate classification points. He's got his fight on his hands as drama. Turner Brown, it's a broken front track rod, and he tumbles down the order, and he is furious at one other. I was looking at my timing screen at the time. I don't know who he had the contact with there, but that was disastrous for him. He is out of this race, and unfortunately for Turner Brown, where did he start on this one? Now, he was in that top section. He was 13th. He was in a good spot, but that might just take him out of contention for the final. We'll have to wait and see. Disaster for him, though, as he will now have to just, well, hold his breath and see what happens. And down the inside, it is Kalesia on the fight back, but he's only 20th place now. He needs to get himself up into, well, he needs to get himself up to 10th place. Out of the final corner. So he was sideways over the line. It was the 140 Ward Racing, I think, or Carl Nelligerd.
Different
he
angle.
was with, and once again, I was looking at my timing screen, not at the screen, so kind of missed it again. But there we go. Yeah, not good at all for those two. But Carl Nelligerd, he's still in this race. They're in 12th place. Down the inside, though, Mark Pilapenko on the charge. Steps up now past Emiliano Hernandez and up into second place.
That's interesting. There's a lot of switches in the lead as well. Hernandez going from 1st to 3rd in the course of just a few corners. We have a new leader into this super heat halfway through. Devin Waltz from Czech Republic now picking up the P1. And that's important, and you know why? Because now
Drops
they have
Baglin
equal
down.
points in the classification. Hernandez, who was your leader, had to keep up that P1 finish, otherwise it could miss, and that's exactly what might happen if it keeps on losing those places. It could miss a start on the front row of the final. Now, Devin Waltz, by leading the race, is on 287 points, the same amount as Hernandez. So if Hernandez loses another place to Zulfikari, for example, or even more so, well, he could find himself dropping in the classification, and that would go the way of Devin Waltz doing the perfect job as for now. 6/10 of a second on Pilipenko. He's pulling away and making sure that not to be caught again into that superheat. This will mean that if behind there's some more trouble for Hernandez, well, this will be David Waltz alongside McCoy for the final start.
Update on William Kalija. He's now into 19th place. He's inside that cutoff area, but I don't think this is going to be enough. He needs to push further forward in this field to secure a spot in that final. This is going to be the vital moment. Carl Nillegård, understandably, under investigation for potentially causing a collision. This was the lead change, and yeah, quite a late move there by Devin Waltz, but he got it done. This was Pilipenko going through, and that drops, like you say, Hernandez. Well, Hernandez has gone down to 6th place now. He's just lost out on Zulfikari, Oskari Wally, and Domain. And that puts Baglin back up into 3rd in the points because Hernandez drops to 4th in the points. So that's going to help Baglin out once more. He's back to 3rd there with 279 points to his name. Hernandez can do only one thing now to put him back up ahead of Baglin, and that is overtake the drivers in front of him. But let's see if that can happen as it's still kicking off here. Zulfikari now has got himself up into 2nd place. Oskari Wally's down into 3rd. Mark Pilipenko, you can see him there with the green helmet on the Fusion machine, pushing away, holding on to 4th place as Domain rounds out the back of that 5-car group as Oskari Wally retakes 2nd place away from Zulfikari, and that opens up the gap even more now to the drivers behind. Domain down the inside of Pilipenko. He's going to try and go for it. Now we're going to see the likes of Martin Bertolacini back into this fight. He's got past Emiliano Hernandez. Hernandez still at the back of this train.
Yeah, that's a lot of Forza and Fusion drivers down there with the Argentinian Martin Bertolacini that we had the pleasure to talk to yesterday. In the charge as well, the 3rd driver into the last sector of the wheel of that Tony Cut machine under the pressure of Emiliano Hernandez, only P7 as he was leading just a few laps ago. So certainly not the race he had been expecting starting from pole position. Emiliano Hernandez, who had picked up a win in the 2nd place, his best result yesterday. But still one race to go as running inside. Bertolacini opening that door outside of turn number 4. Didn't allow Hernandez to make another place back up, but still very much on the charge. Very much on the rear bumper of the Fusion driver as he switches position. The number 16, Marco Pilipenko, back in the place he had left just before, back in 6th place. As Hernandez is harassing Bertolacini as for now in the 3rd section of the track, turn number 10. Back on the power into the last sector. No one quite able to just to make a move in the double left-hander. We've seen that happening in qualifying heats. That's a different scenario coming to the speed, but the last one is proving very useful for the World Racing driver as he finds himself up into P5. Bertolacini chasing what could be a potential top 4 finish.
There down the inside, Danny Babacek on the charge through. He's up 7 places now. He's got Ilya Christian for company, as well as Dean Hugendorn now, who split those two apart. Dean Hugendorn, of course, FIA European champion this year in the OKJ category. Certainly on the back foot here this weekend, but I'm sure he will be fighting fit later on in this one. Jos Mulder, fastest driver out on circuit, is currently in 14th place. He's got Asher Osteen, Drew Waltz just behind, and crucially, William Kalija now up into 17th place. That might be okay for him, but a couple more would be nice, I think, for him. And you can see he's right on the back of that bumper of Drew Waltz, battling away with Jos Mulder as well. We'll keep a close eye on that progression as they go over the start-finish line. They go on to lap number 12 now of this race. 11 laps completed, and unfortunately, Eddie Poulsen will come away with a 5-second time penalty at the end of this one for causing a collision. Battle for first, though. Oskari Wally now leads the way ahead of Devin Waltz. Zulfikari 3rd. Make that 2nd down the inside. He is through into P2. And now they need to think about closing in on Oskari Wally, because once again, this changes things around with that loss of the lead. Baglin now steps up to second in the intermediate classification, and now he's looking at 22 championship points going his way.
Yeah, that certainly will do for him. 22 championship points is all what you need to finish the day on a high before the final. Obviously, as on the inside goes the 73. Beautifully made. Henri Domain on this candidate of Picari now. Picari dropping a place to Henri Domain. McCoy and Baglin now, as David Walls only to P4. What a shame in the latest stage of that race. He seemed to have it under control, but yeah, things can turn around quite quickly at this level of racing. As down into a 10, number 7. One of those 6 happens in Kristianstad. We have seen so many overtaking maneuvers, but in the final lap, always tricky to pull that one last move. Some of them don't think twice before launching the attack, as we still have a close battle between one of the fusions out there, Pilipenko, as Dino Gondorn further back as well, Cenek Babicek. But there won't be not much time remaining as the checkered flag is waving. One last kick on the throttle on the inside for Pilipenko. But in the meantime, while Oskari Wall take the victory in this Superheat number 2 for the junior class. Beautiful performance and victory that put him 4th overall.
Well, fabulous stuff for Oskari Wally. Celebrates over the line, knowing he'll be starting on the 2nd row of the grid for that final later on today in the OKJ category. A championship fight all around him, but he's hoping for one thing, and that is a podium at the end of today. Oskari Wally takes the win ahead of Iskender Solfakari. Domain from Devin Waltz. Martin Bertolacini from Mark Pilipenko. Denny Babicek from Dean Hugendorn. Eli Christian and Emiliano Hernandez, who rounds out the top 10. An update on Kalija in that one. I think he got himself up into 15th place. He did. There's the rest of your results. Henrik Hansen-Kumpen from Brian Bruno. Antoine Vinon from Jean-Mathieu Rousseau. William Kalija from Just Mulder. Dan Alleman from Drew Waltz, who rounds out the top 18. That might just be enough for the championship leader to get into that final. Asher Osteen and Carl Nelligerd go from the top 20. They'll have Will Green and Maxim Bobajov finishing in 21st and 22nd. Alex Malota and Lucas Bonholm ahead of Simba Matoda and Nathan Kappin. Melka Milel and Marcel Sebo will be finishing in 27th and 28th ahead of Dukovsky, Sanchez and Pedrotti. The rest of the field lining up at the further back of the field. Poulsen, Pizzuto, Flood Engebretsen, the finishers of that race. Turner Brown, Ludwig Vanquist, retiring from that race. This was an important one in the championship fight in this Superheats. Of course, the points for Baglin that was needed. He's been able to get up into 2nd place because of the results of this race. Kalija, of course, and Eli Christian as well, who finishes 9th. Both of them, all 3 of the championship protagonists in this year's fight, will make it into this final, and we will see them go to work out there on the circuit. Pilipenko, though, gaining those early positions, getting up into that sharp end. This beautiful display from Turner Brown in the early stages of that race, with the moves down the inside as well, being the likes of Brian Bruno into play. Also later, his demise, though, on the circuit. This moment here, Gilles getting a bit tangled up there with Martin Bertolacini. That allowed the likes of Dean Hugendorn to close in at that time. This moment here, though, you can see wide out of the corner, and the 3 wide moment once again. Turner Brown showcasing some brilliant control down the inside. That's a 2 for 1 after that mishap out of the final corner with Bertolacini. Then the drama happened there. You can see the moment with Carl Nelligerd and Turner Brown that took him out of the race. Let's cut down, though, to Parc Ferme as Guillaume Alvarez is ready for us.
Yes, indeed, Anthony. Oskari Wally with us. Oskari, well done to you. This was a perfect performance out there in the Superheat, and that puts you on the 2nd row of the grid coming to the final. So what do you think of that?
Well, it was a hard start for the Superheat, but then I got a very good speed on through the heat, so that was the...
We thought for a second that Devin Waltz and the others had this race under control, but you were able to fight your way through, so the pace is positive. You've been coming through the ranks and putting you in a very nice position. What have you learned so far of the Kristianstad track that can make a difference in the final?
Well, the chicane is very hard on the start because I have been on the outside in all heats and the Superheats, so I know that it's going to be hard from the second row. I don't know if I'm third or fourth, but if I'm fourth, it's going to be still hard.
All right, well, we cannot wait what you can see and you can achieve this weekend. For one last race to go, thank you very much, Oskari, and good luck for you into the final. As we have one more super hit to go, Anthony, this will go for the seniors, and then it all comes down to the final phase this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Guillaume Alvarez down there in Parc Ferme. Yes, indeed. Back to the senior category now. And, well, I've been doing maths in the commentary box again, which is always a concern. Timo Ramakas, of course, who was in that previous race, has done what he can. At this moment, he's going to be scoring 25 championship points. Kostoja needs to win this race, though, to score those 22 championship points. Second overall in the intermediate classification, that will put him on 174. If Craigie at this moment has a spill and drops down the order, he might have a really close fight on his hands. Here's the grid though. Kostoja and Kelleher on row number 1. They'll be joined by Lev Krutilov and Louis Cochet on row number 2. Joe Turney and Zach Drummond on row 3 with Jacob Mikulev and Yudra Peschel on row 4. Toby Gale and Boris Lysen go from row 5 with Mariana Lopez and Leo Nilsson on row number 6. Row 7 sees Scott Marsh and Nicolo Command. They'll have Luis Francis and Luna Flusha on row 8. Gino Rocchio and Sebastiano Pavan make it an all-Italian row number 9. Row 10 and the second half of the field, who really need to work hard in this one, will have Sebastian Mins and Simon Bulbarella on row number 10. Oscar Gallin and Joel Pocola go from row number 11. Good to see Joel out on the track. He was also caught out in that incident yesterday, which brought out the red flag. Kasper Reipold and Noah Wolf go from row number 12. Clara Kowalczyk and Sana Z on row 13. They'll have Aaron Garcia and Sada Matsoy on row 14. Sonia B and Tom Pradir go from row 15. Karl Lutard and Jagreta Truja go from row 16. They'll have Olin Gali and Elliot Kaczynski on row 17. Sebastian Hayden and Franciszek Sadzielski make it into the Superheats, but on the final row of the grid, and a lot of work is ahead of them to see if they've got an outside chance of getting into that final. Grandstands filling up nicely. Drivers warming up the tyres. The sun is shining. This is the last superheat of the day before we go into those finals, as we go live on board with Lev Krutilov, who will be starting this one on the inside of row number 2. And that is a lots of big view there of Joe Turney, who'll be starting on the third row of the grid. And I've got to say, once again, Joe Turney delivering in those qualifying heats. He qualified 50th into this weekend. He starts this superheat on the third row of the grid. The same can be said for Zach Drummond, 36th in qualifying, joins him alongside. Here we go then, out of the final corner and into the tram lines. We wait for the lights to go out from Martin Bean, but they're not going to go out. They are going to go out. We're racing. Joe Turney thought we were going round again, but that's not the case. We are racing down towards turn number 1. It's a solid start for Kostoja, who once again will break away at the sharp end. Cochet there in third place. Lev Krutilov managed to get the whole shot as well and is held on to second place as they head down into the hairpin of turn number 4. It's a solid start. Turney is there behind as well. Drama kicking off in the background, but everyone getting through the first 2 corners unscathed here, Guillaume, as the field of 36 go to work.
And Joe Turney just made his way past up to P3. We have still 2 drivers, unfortunately, who didn't make it through past turn number 4, Oscar Galan and Aaron Garcia, unfortunately coming together. By the look of it, there they are. And on the sideline into the grass, we might need to see that again. But unfortunately, that's DNF for those 2. As a 1 lap completed and already a gap built by Christian Kostoja, 0.6 of a second from Krutilov, then Kelleher, Louis Cochet, Joe Turney just got P4 in the pocket. Now finds himself back into P5 from Mikulev, Drummond, Lopez, Gale, Marsh. That's for your top 10. So the move was made by Joe Turney, and again is launching himself down on the inside of Louis Cochet. He had gained a bit of momentum in the opening lap before losing those 3 places in the last corner, Joe. Now the British driver is back in contention and run inside on the 251. That's Mikalev losing a place to the 289. This is Ricochet still fighting his way through, at least trying to resist from the 205 as well. Zach Drummond making his way past the Fusion driver, working his way towards the upper part of the echelon as the two Carrick drivers helping each other out just a little bit, with Joe Turney getting ahead of Daniel Kelleher for B3.
Well, those two are in a championship fight between each other. Joe Turney 5th in the points, Daniel Kelleher 6th in the points at the moment. So again, they're going to be two drivers who are wanting to push forward.
Right, on the start, through the chicane, the chain guard come off the Marshall Street side.
Right, so a chain guard coming off then on one of the carts, and well, at this moment we have no idea which cart that is. This might give us an inkling. Is this just a replay of the start or a chain guard pinging off? You're right. Okay, let's watch it through the chicane, and we're looking for a chain guard coming off, and I'm trying to think where to look at this moment of which one, and through the chicane it goes. There it is.
Yes,
it's a silver one. And possibly the Ward Racing cart there in the background. That is pure speculation. But usually if it's silver, it means that it's an OTK one and on a Tony kart. So that's my thought process behind it.
Yeah, well, it remains to be seen who will get back into the pits at some point, if he's been shown a flag or not. As run inside goes Jacob Daniel Kelleher on Kuto Holov, the energy driver, fighting his way up. Running P2P4 with the two KRs, Turney and Kelleher second and third. Kostoya pulling away 1.2 seconds now. There's really no one fast enough to really give a fight to Christian Kostoya just yet, but let's expect a lot of drama and racing coming to the final race of the season this afternoon, as we must look forward to the battle between Tebo Ramakers and Christian Kostoya. But as for now, the Spaniard is pulling away 1.2 seconds. Joe Turney now, that's going to be interesting, is on his own and is leaving his teammate Daniel Kelleher, so to speak, battling with Lev Kudulahov, really keeping Kudulahov at bay as much as he can and leaving a bit of space for Joe Turney to attack. So let's see if the British driver, last year's European champion, will be able to keep the chase to Kostoya.
Yes, indeed. We'll keep a close eye on that fight. Petrol now the fastest driver out there, pushing his way forward as we keep an eye on this fight. Lev Krutilov trying to close back in on Daniel Kelleher here, but just staying behind. There are your Superheats at the moment. Confirmation, again, Mamas was correct. Trust me, I'm scared too, Guillaume. 310 points, maximum that Kostoya could get. He was not going to be able to beat Ramakers within finishing that race in third place. So and now he's secured that one. Lev Krutilov here in this position would be jumping up to 6th, which means he'd be starting on the 3rd row of the grid on the outside. But again, he's going to have a lot of work to do from that one. Joe Turney bumping himself up as well inside the top 10 after that really tough qualifying. They crest the hill, and there is the likes of Simon Bulbarella. And is he missing a chain guard? He is indeed. Yep. I did think it was a Ward Racing kart. It is the 329 then that has that chain guard missing. I hate it when I'm right sometimes.
And currently he sits a little bit further back into the classification, as he's going to have, yeah, he keeps on going still by the look of it. But yeah, it's not easy certainly at this stage to having your chain guard going off like that. But now we're going to keep a close watch on the battles ahead. 1.1 second, the gap is not decreasing that much between Kostoya and Turney. Always easier said than done. The Spanish driver really coming to the fore this season. Daniel Kelleher for the back as well, keeping a close, keeping at bay with the Holov. Then we have Zach Drummond and Scott Marsh on the wheel of that DPK machine, putting the pressure of the Fusion Motorsport driver. As Ricochet, Mikalev, Luis Francis as well, climbing up to P9, 6 places in the pocket in front of Lopez. Luna Flusha giving us a good battle and a good recovery as well. The remontada in Spanish, as 5 places up to P11. As Toby Gale, as I said, that is dropping down the order by the look of it to P15 from in front of Boris Leisen. As we can see confirmation of a technical flag for Bulbarella. Fortunately, the Ward Racing driver will not get past the lap number 10 at least, because within the next 3 laps he has to go back to the pits. Technical flag being shown. And that's the end of the race, unfortunately for the Argentinian.
Boris Lyson down the inside there of Gale through turn 1. Nice move there, securing that position. This is Scott Marsh and Zach Drummond further up the order. They're fighting for 5th and 6th place now. Marsh on an 8th place gain through the field. He was another driver who yesterday in that last qualifying heat was not, I don't think, caught out in the same incident, had his own incident where he was trying to get his kart repaired. We saw on the live stream his mechanic working tirelessly hard to get that bent rear axle out of the kart, but unfortunately didn't go his way. But all repaired today, which is good to see. Eyes then on the field. Costoya leading the way, 1.1 seconds. However, Joe Turney there in second has started to close that gap down here. And right now, for Joe Turney, he has stepped himself up to 8th in the points. If he can get this overtake on Costoya, if he can get this overtake, because Costoya is looking very quick out there, he will get up into 7th. He will get past Jesse Phillips. He may even get past the likes of Lev Krutilov, but we'll have to wait and see in those points. Eyes on this one. Cochet battling with Drummond, has got himself up back into 6th place now.
Yeah, good move indeed. Up to P6 for Zach Drummond. The wheel of the Fusion machine over there. 205, just behind Louis Cochet. As there's two Louis driving for Victor Lane, Louis Cochet and Louis Bazire. One had better luck this weekend around than the other, as Cochet was able to get some performance in the back, while Louis Bazire unfortunately got very, very unlucky with a couple of DNFs on his side. Now, Daniel Kelleher, Lev Krutilov, the battle for P3, 2/10 of a second between those two. And yeah, no one is daring just to make a move yet, and will go the way of Scott Marshall. Look at the DPK driver. Passes on track, and there he goes on the inside, launching himself on Krutilov as we get on board. Just on the edge, beautifully made, as Krutilov is trying to fight back. There's no way he can actually go.
That was actually a really nice shot there. Actually, we're looking backwards, because you could see with that overtake and that side-by-side moment, you could see how quickly the drivers behind were able to close in on them. And there you can see Cochet is that driver closing in on the Victory Lane machine, who is stepping up now pretty nicely back in this order. He is down still 2 places, but still on the fight. Gap between Turney and Costoya, still a second, no change there as they go to work. Kelleher still another 1 second off that pace as well. He's staying in 3rd place. Marsh is still quite a bit of time off that one as well, but this is that fight on your screen, the Kelleher, Marsh, Krutilov and Cochet battle. 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th down the inside, nicely done. Whoa, look at the closing speed again, beautifully timed there for Zach Drummond to get through. Cochet down the inside of Krutilov, put him off the optimal racing line, and now he's got Jacob Mikolev of Malta all over the back of him, as Drummond now gets past through both of them. Drummond, look at this, from Zach Drummond up into 5th place.
Up into 5th place, as we had quickly one driver out by the look of it in turn number 10. Fortunately, who did we lose? Boris Lyson, by the look of it, dropping down the order from KZ Motorsport. Another driver retiring from this race. As I was looking down as well to see where the Argentinian, Simon Bulbarella as well, came back into the pits. Confirmation of the World Racing retirement due to technical flag, as we get on board with Krutilov still being harassed right now by Jacob Mikolev. As you can see now into the last sector, into turn number 10, going back on the power back into 11, 12 and 13. Strong battle as well between the 240, Daniel Kelleher and Scott Marsh. This is for P3. 2 battles at once on the left side and on the rear, as Krutilov is trying to keep Mikolev at bay. Oh, he's just shutting the door a little bit on the back on the power, trying to keep the momentum, but Jacob Mikolev had a little bit of a toe, taking the inside into the first corner, and yeah, there was nothing that Krutilov could have done there, and dropping a place.
Christian Costura at this stage of a race, setting a fastest lap of the race, a 50.1 again. That consistency from Costoya, now with him starting on the front row, would put 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the championship, 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the final grid. My goodness, the senior final is going to be one to watch. Please don't miss it. And right now, with him showcasing this consistency that he's having and this pressure he can keep off from the likes of Joe Turney pushing forward, he's going to be a real contender in that final. You'll have to wait and see with it. Lev Krutilov back on board, looking backwards, seeing Lewis Francis in his exhaust pipe, is going to try and get a move done, I'm sure, in this lap. He's close enough for it, but nothing down in towards turn number 4. Love it as they reclimb up the hill, the crest, the bump, as they go through in towards turn 6 here. They can carry the speed down the hill in towards the very opening turn number 7. Tightens on the apex, opens up again, tightens on the exit again, and it's just a fabulous little run of corners here. So many high-speed areas. You can see just behind Francis as well is Luna Flusha, who was also on a 6th place gain in this race, stepping forward. Eyes on the front runners. There is the lead fight. Kristianstad, smooth as you like, looks absolutely glued to the track there, doesn't he? 1.2 seconds now from Joe Turney.
Yeah, I even run into Marco Paulin, the head of the Paulin Motorsport team this morning, and I joked about Kristianstad being so consistent and showing such a great pace in the lead. I said to him, did you even ask him to slow down a little bit to preserve those tires and try to, see the weekend to the final? And he even said to me that at some point they were testing some different engines to find the best setup, and they did ask Christian to push a little bit as he was in the lead to give different feedback. So even while leading the race, he's doing some testing and giving some feedback information to his team. So that gives you, pretty much the picture of how consistent and how strong has been Kristianstad so far this season in Champions, in the series as well. And it will be one contender until the end. As you mentioned, this final this afternoon, starting with the juniors, then the OK at 1:40 local time. You just don't want to miss it, that final showdown. For the win, but for title as well.
Yes, indeed. Scott Marsh, though, there he is, 3rd place. Good running from him. This is the battle just further behind. Drummond from Mikalev, Krutulov and Flusha. Flusha now getting past Lewis Francis, now up 7 places into P9. Francis still in a good spot there in the top 10 on a 5-place gain. This is a little further as well. We're seeing the fights happening all the way throughout the field. This is, I think, in around the Sebastian Mins-Nilsson area. Sebastian Pavan just behind as well, trying to push his way forward. Kostoya, though, on this last lap of the race, I should say. 1.4 seconds now. Turney just backing off a little bit. He doesn't need to. They know they're going to get a fresh set of tyres for that final anyway. But he's conserving the carts, I think, and himself, of course, ready for that final, where Joe Turney, despite his best efforts, will start on the 4th row of the grid, P8 for that final. Kostoya will be starting alongside Thibaut Ramakas for that final. Kenzo Craigie will be starting on the inside of row number 2, and he'll be joined by the home favourite from Sweden, Oliver Kinmark. Checker flag goes out. Kostoya takes the win ahead of Joe Turney. Marsh from Kelleher, Cochet from Drummond, the top 6.
3 races win in the qualifying heats, 1 race in the Superheat. That's 4 so far, and maybe a 5th one coming up this afternoon. It remains to be seen, but Kristianstad, a force to be reckoned with this weekend on the Asian ring of Kristianstad. Beautiful performance from the Paulin driver on Joe Turney. 1.7 seconds on the checkered flag. The British driver lining 3 places up at some point. He was really pushing, giving everything he has, but at some point he might have backed off a little bit, realizing that despite all of his efforts, well, there was no one catching up with Kristianstad. Scott Marsh picked up 3rd place thanks to a beautiful recovery of 10 positions from Daniel Kelleher, Louis Cochet, Zach Drummond P6 from Lev Kutuholov, Jakob Mikalev, Luna Flusha. Certainly our best performance this weekend. 7 places gained up to P9 from Lewis Francis, Jerry Spezel, Mariano Lopez, Sebastian Mins, Leon Nilsson, Sebastiano Pavan, as well as Sun Anze, Gino Rocchio. Thomas Pradier 12 places up to P18, the best recoverer in this race from Klara Kovalcic. And Toby Gale P20. 21st place goes to Joel Pohola from Karl Lutard, Nicolo Coman, Elliot Kaczynski, Jagal Tetroja, Olin Gali, Sarah Matsuit, Kasper Rashpol, Sebastian Hedin, Yevin and Franciszek Gisikielski. From the drivers that we lost, Aaron Garcia, Oscar Galán coming together in the early stages. Simon Bubarella, technical flag after losing the chain cover on the pre-grid. Boris Lyson and Noah Wolf as well. Another DNF, unfortunately, for the British driver from Bigelout by VAR. as Christian Costoya, your winner of this Superheat number 2, second overall, and on the front row of the grid alongside Thibaut Ramakers. Is how he managed that 4th win so far this weekend from P1 on the grid. Good getaway, already pulling away a little bit, creating that gap, and the chain cover, you saw it flying away on the outside of the chicane, fortunately belonging to Simon Barbarella, that we would only find out a couple of laps later. The opening lap was a little bit shaky, and very much so for one of those drivers a little bit at the back end. He was able to continue after cutting the grass, as Lev Kutuholov at some point making himself up to P2 behind Christian Costoya, as on the inside a beautiful move by the 244 Lewis Francis, following through Luna Flusha as one of the DPK drivers it was at the time. It was Scott Marsh launching his recovery up to a P3 finish. Battles are plenty with Zach Drummond, with one of the victory lanes in Louis Cochet, as Kutuholov kept most of his Superheat fighting with the Car Republics, being overtaken by Daniel Kelleher on his way to P4. Then one of the World Racing, that was the Argentinian, remember Simon Barbarella, who had a strong run mid-pack before having to go to a DNF. We keep a close watch on those highlights, but let's go down to the back for the last interview before the final phase. Over to you, Anthony.
Thank you very much, Guillaume. Yes, indeed. Here with our race runner for that one, Christian Costoya. Christian, another nice, consistent race for you there. Cool, calm, collected, and you secure a front row start for that final. Tell us your thoughts ahead of that upcoming race.
Yeah, I think it's important to be there in the front for the final. We make a very consistent race now in the Superheat. I think we have the pace, and yeah, let's try everything for the final.
This final is going to be a tough fight as well, of course. You're in the championship fight with Kenzo Craigie and Thibaut Ramakers, plus yourself, and you're all starting 1, 2, 3 in that race. What is that going to mean at the start? Is it going to be a defense all the way, or are you just going to be hoping to break away?
I just hope to do my best, and if we can win, let's try for the win.
You've been talking about doing some testing while you've been out there. You've been testing a lot of things over the course of it. Do you think you've got the car dialed into the perfect place that you wanted for that final race?
Yeah, I think we make a very good setup for the final, and yeah, let's test it, and if it goes good in our way, good. If not, another time. But I think everything is open for the championship.
Yeah, let's see. It's going to be a close one. We look forward to it. Christian Costoya, congratulations. We'll see you on that front row later on.
Thank you.
Excellent stuff. Well, there you have it. The Superheats are done and dusted. 2 races left to go. Guillaume, when can we expect to see those out on track?
Well, here's the information that you've been waiting for. Thank you very much, Christian Costoya. In 1 hour and 47 minutes, we will be live once again. As you can see, 1 o'clock local time, the start of the first of the 2 finals on schedule this afternoon. We will be live a little bit before than that, 12:45 local time. Get that in your diary. Get your clocks ready as well. 12:45 will be live, as always, on the YouTube channel of the Champions of the Future and on Motorsport TV. First race, 1 o'clock for the juniors. Second race, 1:40 for the seniors. And in between, as always, the race podiums that we will be celebrating live before the championship podiums taking place at the end of the day. So make sure to tune in. There's going to be a great battle with on pole position in the junior category, Michael Magoy and Thibaut Ramakers in the seniors. We cannot wait for this, as we will see you in a little bit more than 1 hour and a half. See you there.